Acrocanthosaurus, the high-spined lizard. An apex predator, and a good one at that. Each side of its upper jaw sports 19 razor-sharp teeth, but I don't recommend getting close enough to count them all. Now, I've seen skeletons of Argentinosaurus before, but nothing can prepare you for the sheer immensity of this dinosaur in the flesh. A single vertebrae from the back of this animal could be over 1.5 meters tall. You can't get a much more classic dinosaur than Brachiosaurus. This is the iconic high-browsing sauropod, feeding on nutritious leaves and branches way up in the trees. These beautiful creatures can eat around 400 kilograms per day, so I better go check to see if our latest food delivery arrived on time. If not, we might have a bit of a problem. There it is, Camarasaurus, the star of the Morrison Formation. One of the reasons this animal is so common in the fossil record is the sturdiness of its blunt skull. Looking at it more closely, I can sort of see how that could be the case. Wouldn't you agree? Dun 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 dun. Watch out! Here comes the shark lizard, Carcharodontosaurus. Despite the name, this is a terrestrial animal, not an aquatic one. You can think of it as a land shark, well suited to catching large prey, with an incredibly muscular body and wickedly serrated teeth. The woolly rhino, or Scelidosaurus, is a relative to the modern-day Sumatran rhino. Much like its contemporary, the woolly mammoth, this rhino inhabited what is now called the Mammoth Steppe, a vast cold grassland that extended from Western Europe to the most remote corners of Siberia. By bringing this animal back to life, we honour that wonderfully diverse ecosystem, now lost to the ages. Coelophysis is without a doubt the most iconic dinosaur of the Triassic period. Just like how many Hollywood icons have left their handprints behind in concrete at the famous Chinese theatre, many fossilised footprints known as grelata have been attributed to Coelophysis. It must have been quite a celebrity back in the day. Now this is an interesting fellow. This dinosaur is called Deinocheirus, a name meaning horrible hand. Its hands aren't actually horrible, mind you. Calling dinosaurs things like terrible or horrible is a trend that goes all the way back to Sir Richard Owen, who first coined the term dinosaur, which of course means terrible lizard. Dilophosaurus is such a gorgeous creature. Those graceful notched jaws can pack a powerful bite. But watch out for those arms. Their length and mobility make it all too easy for Dilophosaurus to bring prey straight to its mouth. So if the teeth don't catch up, its arms just might. A Dryosaurus. Only juvenile specimens of these dinosaurs have been found in the fossil record, so I'm eager to see how much larger this one will get. Found all over western North America, Edmontosaurus is the textbook definition of a hadrosaur. They're one of the most well-studied animals in the fossil record, providing us with a wealth of insight into how they ate, socialised and survived. Iguanodon, one of the first dinosaurs to be formally named. Reconstructions of this animal have changed dramatically over the years, from a giant rhinoceros-like reptilian beast to the beautiful animal you see before you now. It really makes you wonder, what will paleontologists discover next to fundamentally change the way we view other dinosaurs? Lambeosaurus, a crested hadrosaur from the late Cretaceous. In my opinion, the most interesting thing about hadrosaurs isn't the presence or absence of a crest, but the way they move. They're able to walk as bipeds or quadrupeds as the situation demands, a rare feature in the animal kingdom. At last, the woolly mammoth, ruler of the Ice Age, then ruler of none. There's nothing quite like it on the planet today. These majestic elephants are beautifully adapted for cold environments. Their key adaptations are small ears and a thick coat of fur. It's imperative we give them the best acclimation possible, or else we might have to give the herd a haircut. Wow, look at the horns on that one. This must be Nasutoceratops, a ceratopsian best identified by its large cow-like features. This massive creature weighs approximately 1.5 tons. To put that into perspective, a mature Spanish fighting bull can weigh up to 0.7 tons. Imagine setting that loose on the streets of Pamplona in Spain. Just look at that! This sailback dinosaur is Ouranosaurus, an ornithopod related to both the thumb-spiked iguanodonts and the duck-billed hadrosaurs. It might be difficult to imagine having to haul around such an impressive structure on your back, but the spines of ornithischian dinosaurs were stiff and strong thanks to a criss-crossing lattice that supported their vertebrae made out of ossified tendons. Literally, tendons that turned into bone. Ah, a Pachyrhinosaurus. I've been told that these dinosaurs are quite bossy. Instead of a nasal horn, Pachyrhinosaurus sports an overgrown mass of bone called a nasal boss above its eyes and nose. It certainly lives up to its name, the thick-nosed lizard. Paraceratherium may look totally alien at first, but look again. You'll notice the resemblance to its modern relative, the rhinoceros. While a rhinoceros's smile could be considered rather unpleasant, the teeth of Paraceratherium make its smile something to behold. Beneath that long upper lip are two sets of tusks that point at odd angles from each jaw, making them look like they seriously need a visit from the dentist. Now that, my friend, is a beautiful dinosaur. Almost like a musical instrument, Parasaurolophus used their crest for long-distance communication. There's been simulations in the past that tried to reconstruct how they could have sounded, but nothing quite compares to the real thing. Protoceratops. This animal is one of the smaller species of ceratopsians, living alongside deadly neighbours like the Velociraptor. Oddly enough, this animal lacks a lot of the more complex facial features seen in larger family members, like a certain three-horned celebrity. Now this little fella is a Psittacosaurus. Just like other ceratopsians, Psittacosaurus is a herbivore, but its sharp beak and simple jaws are better suited to tough plant material such as nuts or seed. A word of advice though, be wary of that beak. They're a little nippy. It's always a pleasure to run into a fellow Brit so far away from home. Meet Scelidosaurus, an early armoured dinosaur from England and Ireland. The relationship between Scelidosaurus and the other armoured dinosaurs, Stegosaurs and Ankylosaurs, is the subject of hot debate in the scientific community. It's been well over a century since that discussion started, and we're still not completely sure where this fella fits in. Oh boy, that's a big kitty, more commonly known as the saber-toothed tiger. Smilodon makes for a formidable predator. Despite the looks, Smilodon isn't closely related to any modern cats. It's more accurately called a Carcharodont, although I wouldn't worry too much about making the distinction. Just try to keep those saber teeth away from the guests. While Tyrannosaurus is widely considered the largest predatory dinosaur in terms of sheer bulk, it's not the longest of them. In that competition, it's Spinosaurus who reigns supreme. Much of the bizarre body of Spinosaurus remained a mystery for many years. The original specimen was fragmentary and was tragically destroyed during the bombing of Munich during World War II. Fortunately, recent discoveries of more complete specimens have not only brought its peculiarities to light, but also provided the genetic material needed to perform the miracle of recreating it here in the park. With a head like that, we must be looking at Styracosaurus. Styracosaurus belongs to a group of ceratopsians called centrosaurines, which tend to have longer nasal horns, shorter brow horns, and spiny frills. The famous Triceratops, in contrast, belongs to the chasmosaurines, which instead favour longer brow horns and long, simple frills. Ah yes, the Torvosaurus, an apex predator of the Jurassic. In its heyday, Torvosaurus was what zoologists would call a cosmopolitan species. Now I know what you're thinking, and no, that does not mean that this dinosaur enjoys delicious fruity cocktails. Cosmopolitan refers to species with nearly global distribution, just like house mice, ospreys and barn owls today. Triceratops, one of the most recognisable and largest dinosaurs of its kind. Having lived alongside predators like the T-Rex, those giant horns start to make a lot more sense. Now, let's not mix the two together. There it is, the one and only king of the tyrant lizards. Tyrannosaurus is as big as the movies, and yet somehow even scarier. Take a good look at those arms. Each arm is 1 metre long, can hold almost 200 kilos, and ends in razor-sharp claws. Far from the wimpy little stubs most of the public makes them out to be. Blink and you'll miss it. Here comes the speedy thief, Velociraptor. By far the most popular feature of Velociraptor is its sickle-shaped killing claw. One of our interpreters loves to carry a replica with him to show to the children. It always seems to make a big impression.